Welcome to Living Life and Love. I'm your host, Mark Braxton from Raleigh, North Carolina. This is a global vitiligo awareness and education podcast. You will hear the true and authentic stories from people living with vitiligo. You'll also hear from their loved ones, medical professionals, licensed mental health therapists, relationship counselors, global vitiligo support foundations and organizations, community leaders, and so much more. Sit back and enjoy Living Life and Love. Once again, I'm your host, Mark Braxton from Raleigh, North Carolina. Welcome to Living Life and Love. I'm your host, Mark Braxton from Raleigh, North Carolina. So today, I have my relationship panel. I would like to welcome Millicent, Stephanie, Clarence, and Dawn. And let me say this, Clarence and Dawn are at an event, but they still decided to jump in. So they'll probably share a little bit and then maybe have to pop out, from time to time. So, hey, we're still going to have this conversation, and Darius may join us shortly. So this particular podcast is about, of course, a relationship, but we're going to talk about fear and anxiety in relationships, because that is so important. A lot of us experience fear and we experience anxiety when it comes to dating, relationships, whether we're single, whether we're divorced or married, we still have those fears. So before I even go forward with just opening up to everyone, let's just talk about it. And I know Stephanie and I, we've had conversations about fear. And if you look up fear, it's an emotion. Anxiety is it's a response to, let's talk about fear first. Fear is a response to maybe something happened, or the possibility of something happening, and it triggers either you're going to fight, flight, or tell somebody off. It could be a number of things, and I think we all experience that fear in some form or fashion. And I can just say for myself, yes, but we'll get into that a little bit later. And anxiety could be the result of some of that fear, things that you have experienced. And it doesn't mean something's going to happen. It just means that my spidey senses, as I said at one time before, they're tingling. And that means that there could be a possibility of something, but maybe not. It could all be in my head. Could be just how I see things, or it could be based on my past experiences. Anybody want to add into that definition, or just to talk a little bit about that? Then we'll get into some personal stuff. Not too personal.
I'm going to jump in, Mark.
Okay.
When it comes to fear of what happened in my past relationships. I'm in one now, and it's kind of sad, and I'm being transparent here. You look for something. You look for things that happened in your past. And because you are so used to dealing with what happened in the past, you're looking for it. It may not have happened yet, but you're looking for it. And again, something happened today. I couldn't get in touch. I called 5 times. We reserved, at a restaurant, we reserved the space, and I just happened to have a minor accident, and I made the reservations. And I said, don't forget, don't be there. Be there at 2:00. Don't forget. I had an accident. And so I'm calling this person. He's not picking up. And I'm like, okay, why is he not picking up? And come to find out, he left his phone at home. So things were going in my head, and I was like, well, I'm just upset, blah, blah. And so I had to do a face drop, and what happened, he left his phone at home, and I ended up going to the restaurant, and the waitress there was like, yeah, I gave him the message, because I called the restaurant. She said, I gave him the message, and he had to go back home to get his phone because he left his phone at home. That's why he wasn't answering. So all sorts of things was going through my head, and I was in the wrong because I was thinking negative thoughts. And come to find out, this gentleman left his phone at home, and we did have our dinner, and I told him I had to get back home. I had to do this podcast. But I felt so bad of what I thought.
Right.
And so that was fear. That was anxiety. It's like, oh God, not again. So I was in the wrong, but this one is different. And so I was in error on this part because of, we always think about what happened in our past. We bring it to the present,
right.
We bring it to today, and we fear that, we look, and my thing is that, I look for stuff to go wrong, but you can't do that, because I have to come to realization that every relationship is different that you enter in. Give that person a chance. Don't look for something to happen because that's going to be on your part. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
So yeah, I look at the moment right now, what's going on here. So yeah, so today, and I just, and I apologize. You know, I was like, yeah, I shouldn't have even thought that because of what happened in the past, and I was wrong on that part. So I just wanted to bring that up.
And thank you for being transparent because let's be honest. I know sometimes we think, oh, only women worry. No, men worry too.
Hmm.
And a lot of it is based on our past experiences with somebody else. And we always, not always, but sometimes we think the next person is going to be just like them. And
Right.
we set, I think, sometimes unrealistic expectations on that person, or we already assume, okay, when is it going to happen? When, oh, there it is. Oh, got to walk away. And we
Hmm.
do that. I mean,
Hmm.
I think it's just us being human. We have that worst case scenario, and although it was a situation where you were able to get in contact with him,
Hmm.
but just imagine how much anxiety you would have had if you couldn't.
Right.
Even not knowing that, okay, he left it at home, and he went back home and got his phone to say, oh yeah, yeah. So as people, I do think we carry baggage. And when things happen, that baggage comes out, it spills over, and sometimes we shuffle into our next relationship and we ruin things. And even in our marriages, this stuff that happened when we were in high school and college, we bring that stuff into our marriages sometimes and we ruin things.
Hmm.
Oh, Stephanie, did you want to add something to it, or Clarence and Dawn?
Well, just I mean, Milton just basically said that we bring on our own. We kind of bring on our own suffering, actually,
Hmm.
just with our thoughts. And thoughts are very powerful. Like you can catch yourself, like, what am I thinking? This is not the same person.
Right.
But the emotion, fear, worry, anxiety, the emotion feels the same. So if it feels the same, is it going to be the same? And so then we
Right.
become worried, scared, and then the fight or flight, either we become defensive and fight it, or we just roll out, to avoid the disappointment.
Absolutely. Clarence and Dawn, I know you guys are at an event. Did any of you want to jump in by chance?
I know that when what Millie was saying, that happens to me, and we've been married 17 years last week. But I'll think about the positive.
Right.
Okay, yeah, this could have happened, but what if this happened? So I'm always outweighing the two. I think just even as a woman, we have those feelings because the insecurities or the past mistakes or the hurt that may have caused. Okay, how can I flip that negative into a positive? So yeah, I can understand. Yeah.
Absolutely. And once again to the listeners, thanks to Dawn and Clarence. They're at an event, but they're still here and dedicated to be a part of the podcast. So I appreciate that. And y'all see this one change. I took off that CGI screen thingy because every time I move, I would disappear. And I noticed half my head would be gone. And now you can actually see me. And yeah, this is me. Um, but yeah, and that fear, let's talk about fear first. Um, Fear of commitment. Sometimes we will get involved with people and we see things that we may not feel comfortable with. And that forces us to say, I can't do it. I can't commit to this person without even truly having an answer. We'll walk away from a relationship without truly knowing why we fear something. But once again, I think it goes back to it could be our past, things we haven't dealt with in our past still creeps up
Mhm.
and makes us fearful. I've been asked before, would I get married again? If you would have asked me that about 8 years ago, nope, nah, I'm not doing it. Nope, I don't want to. Because I was afraid, it's like fear of failing. Um, but now if you ask me, I would. I just got to find the right woman to be compatible with and all that stuff. But yeah, like I don't fear it now, but that's something I had to tackle within myself.
What changed your thoughts?
Um, One of my friends asked me, sometimes you got to have your buddies hold you accountable. He said, well, what if you met a woman she fell in love with you, you fell in love with her, and she wants to get married. Would you deny her that? At that point, I wasn't thinking about love. I wasn't thinking about anything because I was just like, no, I'm done with marriage. I was done with it. And he made me think about it in a different way, in terms of falling in love with somebody and taking it to the next level. Then yes, I would, but I had to, before I even got to that, I had to do the work. And I say do the work. There was a program called Divorce Care that I had to go to. Um, for me, it was Christian counseling for those going through divorce, separation, and I needed it. I went through it once, twice, three times. Then I started helping with a program called Divorce Care for Kids. So I was still getting what I needed to help me. So I think that program was beneficial for me to start looking differently at relationships. Anybody want to share anything about other fears that creep up in relationships?
The
I know with
fear.
me some, I know with me sometimes I'm waiting for something to happen,
Mm,
and I have to not today. So I guess the fear of not knowing,
right, right.
yeah.
Hmm.
But I'm processing it day by day.
Absolutely, absolutely. Stephanie, thank you, Dawn. Stephanie, you want to add something?
Well, I was going to say the fear of rejection can sometimes keep you frozen and not making moves at all. You talked about the fear responses of fight, flight, freeze.
Right, right,
So either you run away, and a runaway doesn't mean like physically run away, it's just avoidance.
hmm
And then freeze is you don't do anything. And so I think fear of rejection keeps a lot of us from making moves that we want to make, because what if the person doesn't like me?
right, right.
What if I give my all to this person who says they love me and then they use it against me or reject it? So that fear can keep us frozen.
Yeah, I agree. Even as men, as confident as we think we are sometimes, I'm gonna go and get a number and talk. Sometimes we don't because we fear that rejection and it crushes us sometimes. We may pretend like it don't hurt, but we're crushed. And that's when you see some guys act out and they start cursing people out or being rude or whatever. It's that rejection. And everybody fears it. But I think the reality is, if you take a chance to getting to know somebody, that is a possibility. They may reject you, but rejection is a strong word, and it may not always be rejection. Maybe that you're not who they're looking for, or maybe you two are not compatible, but that's still rejection because you go back and you go, dang, they turned me down, but I'm this, I have this, or I'm like this. Why they don't want me? I think we all go through it.
I like the fact that when Stephanie mentioned fear of frozen, am I saying this right? Did you
It,
mention something
it,
about fear of being frozen or fear of
fear,
frozen?
fear of rejection, but
Fear,
it's that fight, flight, or freeze when you're just there.
right, right, right. I think with the relationship I'm in now, um, like in the beginning, like I told you, in the very beginning, I was looking for stuff
Mhm.
that happened in the past. Like, okay, when is this negative stuff gonna come? That's what I was thinking, to be honest with you. Be honest with you, be transparent. And I know I ain't the only one. But see, that's what it is. You can't look for it. We can't, let me put it this way, we can't help but look for it. I couldn't help but look for it because it done happened so many times in the past. So honestly, I couldn't help but look for it. I'm like, okay, let me see when is it gonna happen? When is it gonna come? Honestly, that's what I thought, but it never came.
Yeah.
And after a couple of months, I said, this one is different. I said in my spirit, this one is different. You know, it took me, and let me get real, Mark. You know, I like to keep it real.
Keep it real.
I don't like to keep it real, but I know this happens to a lot of sisters and they don't want to admit to it. You understand what I'm saying? Okay, he took me out to dinner. Oh my God, I met his brother and his sister-in-law. Never happened before. I said, okay. We went out to a gospel concert. We went to something, a function that happened at church. I was like, okay, okay. And he wanted me to meet his other brother that came in from North Carolina, but I couldn't. I was busy. With the family had a dinner. That never happened. So I'm keeping it real because I know this has happened to other folks, but they may not say nothing, but I'm keep that's when certain things that happen that never happened to you before in a relationship. Okay, this one is different. I kept saying, this one is different. This one is different. And let me keep it real with y'all. And people always say, "Oh, there she go, keep it real." Yes, I keep it real. I have cried because I said, "God, is he for real?" Honestly, I said this.
Yeah.
Is this man for real? Yes, he's for real. Yes, he's for real. So it's the things that we still learning about each. We still
Yeah.
learning about each other, and I'm not looking anymore for stuff that to happen. Honestly, I'm not with it. I'm not looking. I'm not saying we perfect. There's no tracks in the snow. Of course, there's tracks in the snow. But it's like I'm liking this relationship where that, and I'm taking it day by day. I'm not looking towards the future. I'm looking at what's going on right now, what
Right.
God has infiltrated. I'm looking at what's happening right now, and I like it. And I like it. And
You
I'm
know what, Millie?
different. Go ahead.
What you said is real. Like when you meet somebody and they're different, you get scared. And look, dudes might put on fronts. We get scared too, especially if we come with these little boxes that we shouldn't, but we come with different boxes. And that person check off all these different boxes, and that person is treating you well and different from anybody else you ever dated. You're like, wait a minute, what's the catch? It's got to be something. There's something there. And I think we start creating the scenario that the gotcha moment is coming. They're gonna show their true selves. They might be the devil. They might be whoever. And when it doesn't happen, a part of us still feel like, uh-huh, something ain't right, but you have to, I think we have to learn to look at the person for who they are and how they're treating us. And like you said, you are intentional in the moment. Now think about the past or maybe the future, but in the moment, that's important.
I call those
I,
the
I,
walls. I had walls built up
okay.
because
Mhm.
of the past trauma, the past hurt, all the past stuff that went on. There was walls, but it took for me to realize. I even took my husband to say, "You got walls," and I didn't realize that they was walls until okay, dang, I heard this easily. Yeah, it's time for them the walls to start coming down with a lot of therapy, a lot of prayer, a lot of support from my husband. And now I'm good. But every now and then, them walls tend to creep back up. And I got to take my strong hammer and start building them back down. Here comes the work. It's time for the exercise to begin. How can I reach the trust be built back up? And the trust comes from the two of us.
Right,
It's not a
absolutely.
one, it's a two-person workout.
Mhm. But
Yeah.
let me say this though. This is another thing. Sometimes women. I'm speaking for women. I don't know about men. Sometimes women look for these 6'5", 6 feet 5, 6 feet, this and that, very broad shoulders, this and that, this and no.
I'm scared of heights. I can't look up that high.
Yeah, it's like you can't. It's the spirit, his spirit and his heart. That's what I'm attracted to. I don't even look at because I'm not perfect. We're not perfect.
Right.
And sometimes one guy I had to tell him when he told me what type of woman he liked, I said, "Oh, you'll find her at Toys R Us on aisle 5. Her name is Barbie, but you find what you're looking for." I had to tell him that because they're not going to be that perfect shape person.
Right.
If a person treats you right and like you for who you are, and have a good spirit, good heart. That's what. So I just wanted to put that out there too. Yeah.
Thank you for that, Millie, and thanks, Dawn. I'm gonna say something real quick. I'm gonna go to you, Stephanie. After that, I see you. I see your brains going. You're thinking about something, but men put up walls too. I have put up Westeros. If you watch Game of Thrones, I had the whole kingdom put up, and I recognize that, and I still do. I'm not gonna front. I still do. Because of past, whether it's a relationship or whether it's somebody you were starting to get to know, things happen and those walls shoot right up. And then you have to figure out how to bring those walls down, because you want to be able to trust people. You do. But every time you run into a situation where you can't, another wall goes up, another fortress comes up here, a turret comes up here. Now I've got the soldiers ready. You sometimes go into these relationships ready for combat, and that's not necessarily what it needs to be. Um, and it's funny that you said 6 feet tall. I, I, I was that guy. I would go for the tallest woman I can find. And I just recently I'm starting to look outside the box and say, you know what? It's not about, because I'm naturally attracted to tall women. It's about the person, their heart. How are they going to treat you? Because sometimes you can get exactly what you want, but you're not compatible, or you may not be what the other person wants, and things don't work out. So I'm really thinking differently now, and not sticking to what I normally need to say. Let me go to Clarence, then I'm gonna jump to Stephanie. Okay.
You said something, Mark, right there that I had to have a conversation with a guy about something that you want. We have to understand not everything that we want is really what we need
Right.
and what God has for us. So we have to be careful, even in relationships, that you may want something in that relationship, or you may want something to happen, but is it really what God has for you, and is it really what you need?
Right.
I had to learn a long time ago to not look at my wife as somebody else because she's different. She's not the same person. So we got to make sure that when we go into relationships and stuff like that, that we give them the chance that they deserve to prove to you that I'm not the person that you used to be with.
Absolutely. And real quick before we get to Stephanie, I like that, Clarence, because we do sometimes go into these relationships with a preconceived idea of the person we want, and we try to fit people to that mold, our fantasy person. You want that person to be this height, this size, have this job, do this, all these things that we put on people. And when they don't fit that mold, we go, bye bye, I'm done. Nope, I didn't get what I wanted. But it's not always about what you want, it's about what, and we're going to turn it biblical, who God sees that should be in your life for whatever reason. We sometimes we think we are great in our own greatness, but it may not be your greatness. It can be somebody else that help build you up, and that's the person he wants to put in your life. But you know how we are. Nah, I don't need that person. I'm good. Anyway, let's go to Stephanie.
Yeah, I was thinking about walls, and we put up walls to protect us, but protect us from what? Like, we have alarm systems at our house, we have alarm systems on our car. Some of us have you know things to protect us in our home, but in relationships you have to weigh the odds of, do I want to have these walls up and miss out on love, or do I want to let my walls down, like Dawn said, and trust that this person is not going to hurt me? Because being vulnerable is basically saying,
Right.
here I am, no walls, no shields, no 357 Magnum, like, just here I am. And you're taking a risk that this person won't hurt you. They can hurt you because you're a
Right.
human being. But if the reward is love and a relationship, then you take a risk when you let your walls down that this just might be the one. And that's for you, Millie.
Absolutely. And me, and for
Yep.
and for you, yeah. But for real, it is taking a risk,
Mhm.
and sometimes we are fearful to take that risk because we don't want to be disappointed, we don't want to get hurt, we don't want to choose wrong. All these, and then we put the what ifs. What if? What if? And sometimes we got to look at not what if, but what is. What is happening in the moment. How's this person treating me in the moment? Yes, it may seem unreal based on our past, but if the right person is there, all your fears and anxieties will go away. Not right away, but they may go away. They may come back, but that person will reassure you that no, 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 I'm here, I'm real. Dawn, looks like you got something to say. I see it. No, not this time. Okay. Anybody want to jump in with that? Then I'm gonna go to something else.
So I want to jump in about walls. I see we talking about walls and everything. And this is, like Dawn was saying, instead of talking about walls and stuff. But like I said, my walls were up, because like I said, I used to look for stuff. And at a point in time, I thought, men, they just ain't no good. They just ain't no good. Blah blah. Because when you go through certain stuff, you get really angry, you get upset, and you done. You done. But I'm saying just because what I am in right now at this moment, that don't mean I have my walls up. But I have to say, Stephanie, the bricks are coming down slowly.
Good.
You understand what I'm saying? The bricks, brick by brick, is coming down. It's coming. The walls ain't completely gone.
Right.
Just brick by brick, they're coming down. Because from what he showed me so far, I wasn't dealing with that in my past relationships. This is something different. And like I said, we still getting to know each other. We
Right.
talked about that today. We still getting to know each other. But like I said, the wall is coming by brick. Because you have a wall for each person that I've dealt with in the past.
Right. Right.
I've had that wall. It's like, don't even call me. I done blocked you. Why are you?
Yeah.
Don't frame me on FaceTime. I ain't got nothing to do. You know what I'm saying? That's a wall. It's like, listen, you've earned your wall. So don't even go there. But with this one, is like the bricks are slowly coming down.
So it sounds like you're playing relational Tetris, and he's winning the game right now. He's making all those little walls come down. Good.
Right. And like you said, we can't help it. I can't help it. I mean, I'm talking back to my early 20s. I can't help it. I'm looking for something
Right.
to be wrong. Because sometimes we really jeopardize what God has blessed us with. We looking for something. And then when even if it's the tiniest thing, you point it out. But like I said, we're not perfect. So it's like the box has been checked. The box has been checked. Because we gave our all. I'm talking about past relationship. We gave our all, but then when you don't get that in return, you get hurt. You're like, I'm done. But when somebody come along, you be like, okay, what you want? Because I'm not gonna lie. When he approached me, I was talking to God. I was like, oh Lord, what he want? Why he come? Oh Lord, why he coming over here? What you want, Lord? What? That's what I actually was saying when I seen him walking towards me. What he want? What he want? So I was kind of jeopardizing it, but I didn't know we never know what God has for us. So
That's true.
Yeah, we never know. So that's what I wanted to say.
Because I would never think I would be married to a pastor. He was the last on my list. A pastor, a man of God. And look, I was born and raised in church. That's all I know. But God knew what was best
Right.
for the both of us. He knew what was best for me. He knew what was best for Clarence. And so now he put us together, and we're just getting stronger and stronger day by day.
Absolutely. And for those of us who are still single or divorced, we still have to be hopeful. I know fear and anxiety can sit in, but you still got to be hopeful and be open to, I think, being open to the possibility of meeting the right person for you to love for the rest of your life, and they love you. And but I know it's easy for us to shut those doors because of things we have experienced. And I'll say, from a man, I've shut many doors. I opened it up and it's like, oh, I don't like what I see. Shut it, lock it, go, maybe meet somebody else and like, something's not right. Then again, I go back and think maybe it wasn't them, maybe it was me. Maybe I didn't have what was necessary for that relationship to work. But let's talk about society. Let's talk about that. External forces and that create issues in relationships that make it challenging for us or brings anxiety for us. And I'll start it off. I do say society because I think, like, when we watch TV and you get these reality shows, I think they set an expectation for us that's not necessarily realistic because everybody looks perfect. Everybody has the perfect job. All they're in this perfect setting, until the drama starts. And then you're like, oh, they're not perfect. And I think sometimes we look at Hollywood, we look at TV relationships, and we say, I want that. But we also have to remember these shows are written by somebody who can write very well and can write the perfect romance. but you have to be able to create your own perfect romance. Any thoughts on that? Okay. I still
Oh,
ask. Oh, go ahead. Go ahead. I
I
was
was
gonna
just
say,
going to say that about society. Like you always see these TikToks about relationship goals
right.
or, power couples, and we don't know what's going on behind closed doors. Like
Absolutely.
he or she might be going upside the other person's head for all we know, but they appear to be this happy, perfect couple. But we don't really know what the reality is. And so, like you said, Mark, we gotta think about our own stuff and our own reality and make the relationship what we want and not what we think is going on with somebody else.
Absolutely. And sometimes we do look at these power couples in whether it's somebody that's in a high position in government or wherever or Hollywood or wherever. But then you realize they get caught on the jumbotron cheating.
Mm, mm,
So
mm.
that means you're looking at a relationship that's really not perfect on either end. So I really think we have to be mindful of the examples that we're looking at in terms of great relationships, and also understand they also have their problems. I know some people look at the former president, um, President Obama and his wife, and we
Mhm.
think, oh, they had the perfect relationship. I want a Barack and Michelle relationship, and now they're sharing that they have issues, they have challenges because they're people. And instead of us sometimes building our own relationship, you and the other person create the relationship the two of you want, we try to base it off of somebody else because it looks perfect from the outside. That's not going to work.
It's not. And I have to agree with you on that. It's like people. I mean, these reality shows. A lot of people, believe it or not, they want to be like them. They want to be like this reality show people. They want this perfect this and that, whether it's a rap reality show, whether it's a Love on the Island, this and that, or whatever, this and that. But you got, like you said, Mark, these scripts are being written. We don't know what's going in the background, what's going to happen in the background. Another thing with society, I'm all about be yourself, be
Right.
yourself. I have approached women. Um, I've asked them. I say, whether they lock their hair. I said, tell me what made you lock your hair. I'm just curious because
Right.
or tell me what made you wear that natural hair. I ask women and they don't mind telling me. They don't mind telling me. Because sometimes we as women, I don't care what age you are, we as women like to mirror what we see on these reality shows. And
Right.
that's not what it's about. You got to love yourself for who you are. I'm not a size 8, never will be. It's like you got to love yourself who you are and just love what you have been given, whether genetic wise, me, hereditary.
Right.
So that's what I've come to know. Even when it comes to loving your hairstyle, loving your skin complexion. We have vitiligo. It's like some people say, "Oh, I went and got a tan. I wish I can tan." But I'm like, "Yeah, I can't tan." Well, okay, next. You know what I'm saying? So it's like I've learned to love myself, learn to love the skin that I am, like they said, learn to love my hair. I used to despise this hair. I'm the only one that got it out of my 4 brothers. I got my dad's hair. I don't got my mom's, I got my dad's hair. And I said, I had to embrace my coarse hair. I embraced it. And so, like I said, society can be so tricky. It's like, women and men,
Yeah.
they want to mirror what they see on TV. You can't do, you got to love yourself first. And then even within a relationship, love yourself first. If somebody don't love for who the way you look, tell them to kick rocks. You know what I'm saying?
Billy, I'm glad you said that because I'm gonna share something. So we're talking about loving, our who we are, and I was having a conversation with someone, and I found I kept sharing with her about vitiligo, 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 my vitiligo, vitiligo. And what she said to me was, are you trying to convince me to be comfortable with your skin? And I'm like, ooh, I guess I am. She said, I'm already comfortable because I'm talking to you. I'm having a conversation with you. I'm already comfortable. You don't have to convince me. I was like, you know what? Here I am trying to, I'm the one that was having the anxiety and the issue about what I look like, but we also have to remember when you're dealing with other people, whether it's in a friendship, relationship, business, partnership, whatever, they accept you for who you are. There's some superficial people out there that see you on the outside and that's all they judge you on. But people who are genuine, they're going to like you based on who you are, not for what you look like. And for people that live with vitiligo, you don't have to do anything outside the norm to impress people or try to explain anything. If somebody's talking to you, they more than likely they already know about vitiligo. You don't have to go into details to explain, all the stuff unless they ask. If somebody asks, about being out in the sun or treatments, that's different. But we shouldn't have to live our lives where we got to explain everything because of our own insecurities or anxiety about what other people think. And that's going back to the relationships. If somebody is going to like you and love you, they're going to do so because that's what they choose to do, regardless of what you look like or physical abilities or not. People love you because they love you, and that's a choice they make. And you can't force anybody to do it. That's what they choose in their heart. Anybody want to add anything? I'm gonna go to another little topic soon.
I just want to say something real quick. You mentioned about vitiligo. So because my vitiligo is not visible, you won't know I have it until I say something about it.
Right.
And I got a habit of sometimes bringing it up. Well, you ever heard of vitiligo? Because I want to hear what the response from that person. You know what I'm saying? When it comes to relation, I want to hear what the response is. Because like I said, some people ask me, I've been asked, which parent is white? Your mother, your father?
Right.
Neither. Or some people come to me all the time and speak Spanish. I said, no, speak Espanol, so I get that a lot. But when it comes to past relationship, I have to confess, I'm the one who brings it up first. Well, you ever heard of vitiligo? It's a skin, that's what or I always say, that's why I'm so light. Not that I have to explain it.
Right.
When they don't even ask, I'm the one that always bring it up. And I've learned to stop doing that. If they ask, then I'll explain it. But if they don't, then they just don't. Yeah, because I'm fearful that I said, you know what I think to myself? Let me bring that up first so we can get that out the way.
Right.
If you don't want to deal with me, then I'll know.
Right.
That's what I used to do. But
I
I stopped doing
I
that.
still have that habit. I'm gonna be honest. I still have that habit, but I'm also recognizing they see it. Like if I'm wearing shorts, they see it. It's not like it's hidden. It's on my hands. If they didn't ask questions about it, why am I making it the top priority to say, hey, this is what I have? you know, um, but I also get that we live in a society sometimes that says perfection, and we want to be a part of that perfection, knowing that when you have spots or anything else is not necessarily um what others may see as perfection, but nobody's perfect. And I often say that. I said even the person with the perfect body that we say might be mentally unstable, or maybe they can't read, or maybe it's something else. They got a bad heart, not in terms of health, but just they're a wicked person. I said, like people come with stuff, and we have to show interest in the person based on who they are, not necessarily all the other factors that come into play, because you're never going to find that perfect person. And that's why some people, I feel, spend a lifetime searching, and then they realize, oh crap, I spent my whole life looking for the perfect person, the perfect mate, and you're never going to find it. Stephanie, you got something you want to share? I know your brain is thinking. I could tell with your brain when you're thinking. Yep, I see it.
Sorry. No, I was actually I was stuck on fear.
Yeah.
I mean, everything that everybody's saying, I just keep thinking about fear and how it's impacting either relationships or the absence of relationships.
Right.
So yeah.
And I'm gonna be transparent. That is my challenge. It is the fear of not being accepted by someone. Not for who I am. I think I'm a nice person. I think I have a great heart. But when they see the exterior,
Mhm.
and that fear comes from rejection. From that, I've had somebody reach out and we're having a conversation, and I, mentioned that, oh yeah, the white spots that's vitiligo, and they were like, oh no, okay, you know, but to me that was in their ignorance, but also that's rejection that brings up fear. Like I'm the nice guy that gets put in the friend zone. Why is that? And I think sometimes it is because of the spots, because not everybody can handle it. Meaning, how do you go home to your folks, say, I met somebody, I really like this person, and you show up, and some people are cool, but some families you might have to explain. Well, they look a little different. What do you mean? They have spots. Oh, what kind of spots? It's going to be all these questions. But I'm also getting better. Didn't say I was 100% there. We're not worrying about what somebody's going to think about me. You know, I'm learning that the right people are going to be in your life for a reason, and the wrong people will find their way out. If somebody finds their way out, they weren't supposed to be there. Bye bye. You know, um, but 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 still, to say, fear, rejection, all that stuff, it still hurts. For anybody, you still feel that pain, or you feel that disappointment, all those things. We're human. We can sit there in front and, as a dude, what am I going to say? I'm good. I'm all right. Cool. I ain't talking to nobody else right now. Like we say that, and then the next person comes along, you're like, what's her plan? What's going on with her? So men go through it too. We may not be as vocal about it. That's not true. We get around certain one of certain friends. We'll share anything, and we'll talk about everything and all the fears and everything. And for my brothers out there, that's important. Find your tribe. Find the people you can talk to, because it is important for you to have these conversations and not just have it with yourself. I understand you could pray about it. God's going to put people in your life where you can open up and share, because as humans, that's how we're built. We're built to be able to interact with other people and be transparent. If something hurts, say it hurts. Don't hold it in, because then it's going to come out as an ulcer or something else, and you can be angry at the world. We don't want you to do that. You know. Let's talk about communication, since we're talking about transparency. Um, and then we're gonna kind of talk about a few more. Not no, we're gonna get to a point where we're gonna wrap it up. Let's talk about communication. How important is that in um, combating anxiety and fear? Um, and let me go to Stephanie first. Do you think that's something that, as we're starting new relationships, like, we just should be upfront and honest, like, here's my anxiety when it comes to relationships, or should we just go with the flow?
I think the most important thing when you talk about communication is honesty, but first honesty with yourself.
Hmm.
So, like admitting I'm scared, or I got walls up, or I'm bringing my past to my present. You have to acknowledge that, because otherwise it it goes like, it goes away, but it really doesn't go away. So communication is important, to first be honest with yourself and communicate with yourself, but also we have to communicate feelings to other people, because it's important for people to know how you feel. Otherwise, they don't know how to treat you, or how to comfort you, or
Right,
to give you what you need. So it's a blurry line, because you don't want them like running because,
right.
oh, you're scared, or you're living in the past. But you also put it out there, again, being vulnerable. I'm scared.
Yeah, yeah.
I know being scared is something men don't say.
No, you gonna say that? I'm scared.
Right,
Oh,
because
no.
then you're seen as weak, but you're a human being, and we have fear, and we have fear for a reason. So
Right.
communicate.
And I like that, the idea of being able to, when you are talking to somebody, to say, here are my fears when it comes to relationships, not meaning I'm going to stay in that place, but
Mhm.
just so you know that, hey, this is what I feel, um, when it comes to commitment. Some people fear commitment. Why? Maybe they were hurt in the past. They committed to somebody and that person just left. And now they need to figure out a way to be able to commit again. Some people fear love. They don't like that feeling, of feeling mushy and all that stuff. And it's so many different things. But I do feel we have to be honest with the other person because they can't read your mind and you can't read theirs. And if you're feeling some type of way about something, the only way they're going to know is if you share it. We can speculate all day. Well, I think she feel like this, or I think he feels like that. I think that, no, you ask. But I also feel like you got to use a little tact when you ask. Don't just, what you feeling? You can't just come out like that, but just, find out, how do you feel about um being exclusive? How do you feel about,
Mhm.
you know, taking trips together? How do you feel about, I don't want to say what are your thoughts about how do you feel, because that's different. Our thoughts and feelings are two different things. Although we try to put them in the same box, but they're not. And yeah, that's and yeah, for men, I'll be honest, it is a scary thing to say, I'm gonna share my feelings. Reason why, and I'm gonna say it here, and y'all don't jump on me. When men sometimes share our feelings, we feel like it's used as ammunition when there are arguments. And not everyone's going to do that, but we've been in relationships where we've shared openly, how we felt about something. And later it was used to attack us, and then we shut down. And we as men have to get out of that. We need to still be able to talk about our feelings, you know. Millie, you want to share something?
Yeah, listen to Stephanie, and you're right. First, you have to admit your fear. You know what, and I have with what's going on right now. But I do have a girlfriend that I've talked to, and I have a bad habit of, like I said before, looking towards the future. Well, what if this happened? Well,
Right.
what if that happened? What if that? And my girlfriend said, in a calm manner, she said, Millie, enjoy the present. Focus on what's
Yeah.
going on today. I was like, yeah, you're right. You're right. So I had to learn that, because like I told you before, certain things have happened now that has never happened in the past. So I'm like, what if this happened? And then she had to cut me off. She said, Millie, in a calm manner, Millie, enjoy the present.
Yeah.
She said, focus on the moment right now. And that's what I'm doing. Because like you said, we can't help it. And you mentioned another thing, Mark, people using things against you. And I've learned that. I mean, that's a lesson learned from a lot. I know a lot of people have learned that. Don't give out too much, because if things don't work out, yeah, it will. Sometimes people will use that against you, and that's another fear. Well, I told him this, and I told him. I wonder, that has happened. That has happened. So I've learned also in that aspect. Don't give too much out, especially early on. So I've learned that, because like you said, you just never know when whatever you share, and if things don't work out, that's it. You don't let
Yeah.
your business out. So yeah, that's what I had to mention.
And I like that advice your friend gave you, because it's funny. I say the same thing to my students, but now I'm thinking, gosh, I need to take that for myself. I always tell them, you can't fix the past, you can't go back to the past, and you can't go to the future because you're in the present. And I'm like, oh, what Millie just said, yeah, I got to focus on the present, because I can't control what's going to happen tomorrow. I can't control what happened yesterday. I can control what's happening right now in this moment. And I think with relationships, we have to be intentional. We have to be mindful of what's happening in this present moment, in this time. I mean, you can still make plans, but you still can't control if they don't go the way they plan, that you planned it. So, um, all right, let's do this, because I don't want us to go past our normal time, because we can be on here for like 2 hours still talking and not even realize it. So I'm gonna honor everybody's time and my time, and I want to get out before the storm comes. every day there's a storm. It rains every single day, every day. And I love the rain, but I'm tired of it. When they say, can you stand the rain? Right now, I can't stand it, but let me say this. I appreciate Clarence and Dawn coming on to be able to share, although, I know you were at an event, but still being able to share. I appreciate your dedication, and Stephanie and Millie for y'all being here. I think these conversations are very important. They're important for us as people to hear different experiences. I'm not going to say opinions. I'm going to say experiences. Because all of us have different lived experiences, whether we've been in marriages or divorced or in relationships, and all these things, they all impact us as people. And I think often say we need healing from the things that impacted us in the past, because in order to have a future with somebody, you got to be able to talk about these things in the present. And just because you have a past doesn't mean it dictates what's going to happen later. You just got to heal from it and move on. And as we know, before I go around, the past has a way of creeping up. Every time you start dating somebody or start having a conversation with somebody, here comes the past from 10 years ago. Hey, remember me? It's like, come on. And it's funny, I was speaking to someone, and that's the exact situation that happened. The past returned, but it's what you do with it. Do you entertain the past? Is it your past is your past for a reason? Or do you, move on with your future? That's the decision you make. So just for people listening, just think about that. Don't let the past dictate what's going to happen in your future, because you have control over it. So let's go around and let's just share some words of encouragement as we're about to close. And I'm gonna start with you, Millie.
The only advice I can give, and it just came in my spirit, and his advice also for myself: stop looking in the rearview mirror. Stop doing it, sisters, brothers. Stop doing it. It's hard not to do. I'm not going to sit here and be honest. I mean, dishonest with you. It's hard not to do, but stop looking in the rearview mirror. Like Mark said, yesterday's gone. Tomorrow's not even. I mean, the next day is not even here yet, but today is here, and that's what we got to focus on today. But stop looking in the rearview mirror.
Absolutely.
Stop doing it. Yeah.
Now, the only person that needs to look in the rearview mirror right now is Clarence, because he's driving. So we're gonna make sure that you looking in that rear view so people don't hit you. But is that you driving, or is it Dawn driving? Oh, Clarence. All right. Just want to make sure. So Clarence and Dawn are driving. So I'm not going to ask y'all to add words of encouragement unless one of you want to click on to do so. Dawn, did you want to say something?
Love yourself so others can love you. Just be careful.
Absolutely. And I heard that police car siren in the back. I hope they're not chasing you, Clarence.
That was the ambulance.
Oh, the ambulance. Okay. Hopefully you ain't hit anybody driving on the street. No, but seriously, but thank you two for coming on. Y'all drive safely to your next destination. And Stephanie, if you'll share something, and then I'll share something to wrap us up.
Yeah, I think, as I was saying, communication with yourself, knowing your own feelings and what's going on with you is important. But also, like people say, face your fears. Well, what if you don't even know what your fears are? So,
Right.
Or you're in denial of what your fears are: commitment, rejection. I think it's also important for us as human beings. Now, this is a therapist in me. Sorry. She pops out all over the place. But what is your fear response? Like, do you run? Do you hide? Or do you fight? So if you're a person who likes to get defensive and argue and then you fight. If you avoid, then you run. And then there's freeze. You do absolutely nothing. It's important to know what your fear response is. Ask yourself what it is so that then you can face it and do something about it. You want to do something with that information, then just know that that's what it is. So that is my words of encouragement: is communicate, be truthful to yourself, and then know what your fear response is, and then face your fears.
Absolutely.
I'm
And thank you.
talking to myself.
Thank you for sharing that. And I was going to say too that, I do all three. It depends on the situation. Sometimes I am going to fight. Sometimes I am going to run. Sometimes I'm going to freeze. And it all might be in the same setting. So, I, it's hard to say. And I've realized I actually did that recently. I fled a scenario, but I went back and apologized. So sometimes when you realize that you're in the wrong in terms of not necessarily relationship, just in friendships too, apologize. I think that's a big step that we kind of forget when it comes to relationships. Nobody's got to be perfect. There are going to be times where we get on each other's nerves. We're going to say things that hurt each other's feelings, especially like we mentioned, Millie. You start sharing stuff about yourself and people use that against you. But also we have to learn to apologize when we see that the other person's hurt. And identify that. Sometimes we are blinded to what other people are feeling because we're not paying attention. Because a lot of times we look for words, we look for a person to say it, but sometimes you got to be able to read the person's expressions, body language, facial expressions, all that stuff. And I think with all the things we shared today, it's going to help somebody. And I often say that this with any podcast, I don't know who it's for. It could be for us that are here, but it's also for somebody out there that's going to listen to it. And I hope that, we have said something that's going to really challenge them to step outside their comfort zone, maybe learn to take their walls down, maybe to learn to communicate better or understand why they fear relationships or what the anxiety is doing to them or how they can combat the anxiety, And I would say also, do the research for yourself. Although we talked about it, there are plenty of websites out there that can give you information about, fear and anxiety in relationships and what you could do to help yourself. Of course, if things are challenging and you really don't know what to do, there's someone like Stephanie that you can go to. There are therapists out there. There are counselors that you can talk to get the necessary help. Because we always can't do it on our own. We try it and sometimes we fail. And when we fail at something, we tend to give up. And I'm going to say this, and I'm going to wrap things up. Don't give up on yourself. Don't give up on relationships. Don't give up on love. But take your time. You've been listening to Living Life in Love. I'm your host, Mark Braxton from Raleigh, North Carolina. But I'm going to end this like I always do. I always talk about love, sweet love, and all that stuff. So let's make sure we are taking time out of our schedules to love somebody, whether it's your family member, your friends, loving your colleagues, your coworkers, strangers. People are in need of love, and especially in these modern times, we need love. We're seeing a lack of love on TV all the time, and people are in need of kind words. Maybe they're in need of a hug, a handshake, something, or just pure acknowledgement. You don't have to say anything, just a head nod could be love to somebody. So, but make sure we're showing people love. Most of all, before we can do any of that, let's show ourselves some love and make sure we're loving ourselves. Y'all take care. Once again, you've been listening to Living Life in Love. I'm your host, Mark Braxton from Raleigh, North Carolina. Yes, I'm going to do it the old school man. Peace.
Sit alone in my fortress of solitude, watching every brother move in pursuit of you. Like bees to that queen, keeping a hive alive, I just breathe, trying to survive. They're drawn to you like honey, everyone the same, waiting patiently in love's silly games. I see my now, you're my hereafter. I'm your next verse, your unwritten chapter. It's not that my light doesn't shine, it gets dim by false loves each and every time. You don't see this bright light inside of me, blaming on my ability of invisibility. You walk on by like I'm nothing but air, like I'm part of the room, like I'm never there. I'm caught in the silence, I can't set it free. I'm wrapped up tightly in my own anxiety. Another day, another dream you don't see, but I still hold space for you so faithfully. Invisible, but I still believe you might look my way one day and even notice me. You got a glow, I see it all the time, but I freeze when I see you and try to say a line. My soul wants to shout, but my lips stay closed, afraid of the hurt that only rejection knows. You flow like water, I'm frozen like ice, trapped in a loop that won't play twice. I want to reach out, but I don't dare. I just watch you from over here in my own fear. I want to speak, it's not like I don't care. I'm guarding my heart from rejection, becoming self-aware. You don't feel the nervousness inside of me, blaming on my ability of invisibility. You walk on by like I'm nothing but air, like I'm a part of the wall, like I was never there. I'm screaming softly in the crowded sea, drifting deeply into my own anxiety. Another day you just breeze right through, while I sit here daydreaming only of you. Invisible, but my love is true. Still hoping that one day you'll see it too. Maybe I'm the shadow in your light. Maybe I'm the whispers in your night. Maybe I'm the songs you ain't heard yet. Maybe I'm the love letter your soul would never forget. You walk on by like I'm nothing but air, but my love's been floating in the air, everywhere. I'm singing softly like it's loud in me, undoubtedly, but I still believe. Another day, still I hope, still I try to catch your elegance as you pass me by. My heart's echoing for you invisibly. Love's gonna find a way to turn you and me into we.
Fear of love has me petrified in time. Fear of failure has my heart in a twisted bind. Fear of the unknown, blinded to what I needed to see. Fear always keeps your heart from reaching me. Fear of not finding a true heart that heals. Fear of a sly thieving heart that steals. Fear of feelings that lie dormant and fade. Fear of being the vicious predator or the prey. I've got a fear of love that I seem to can't let go of. It's a type of phobia interrupting my chance for my next love. Falling in love brings on so much anxiety, but I still have hope, yeah, hope for you and me. Love's instability puts me in an instant panic, but I dream of a love that's soft and not manic. Waiting on the day when the king meets his queen, slaying the dragons together that live in between. We battle side by side, no more time for retreat. My fear loses ground each time our hearts meet. We lay down our arms and take our hands instead and walk toward love without a sense of dread. I've got a fear of love I know I'll let go of. It's a type of phobia messing up my next love.
Falling in love brings on anxiety, but I still got hope. Yes, hope of you loving me. Fear failed its mission to take your love from me. Fear didn't know we slayed the dragon, anxiety. Now we can love each other the way it was meant, and reclaim all the quality time that fear had spent. On this day, I let go of my fear of love. Like the phoenix, I rise from the pain. I've had enough. You brought me much needed peace, gave my heart release. Now we shine bright like love that's finally free. We sit on our thrones together in love's rebirth and pray on this day that true love fill this earth.